Okay, so this is going to be part 2 of the conversions video with examples of how to use the fence. So we're going to start with an example problem. And we'll say Joe ran 200 yards. How many feet did Joe run? Okay, a common question that I get from 6th graders is, how do we know when we're going to have a conversion problem, or how do we know when we're going to use the fence strategy? And the answer to that is this. When you look at a math problem and you see that you have two different units in the same problem, that's when you're going to be using the fence strategy, because you're going to have a conversion between those two types of units that are there. So as soon as I saw yards and feet, I already can start thinking, hey, I'm going to end up using the fence here for this problem. So I will be using the fence strategy. So the fence is going to start off looking like a plus sign. Just like that. And one of the things I know is that there's nothing that's going to go in the bottom left box. So that's going to stay blank. Every single time that stays blank. Nothing goes there. And if we look back at our notes on how the fence actually works, we know that this top box up here is what I know from the problem. So when I read the problem, I'm trying to figure out, what do I know from this problem? I know that Joe ran 200 yards. So that's what I'm going to put on top. 200 yards. Okay, so we have 200 yards on top because that's what I know from the problem. Now if we look at step 2 says that whatever unit is on top must be on the bottom. So I have yards on top, so I must have yards on the bottom. So now, once I as a student have put what I know up here, my job is actually done. I don't have to put up anything else on my own, because what's going to help me out to solve this fence is going to be my conversion chart that your teacher's going to give you, or that's going to be on the STAR test, because they'll always give you the conversion chart. And for us, it's going to look something like this. So it's the 6th grade reference materials, and you see here that they do have some conversions already there for you, where they tell you like 1 mile is 1,760 yards, or a yard is 3 feet, or a foot is 12 inches. So you're going to be using this right here once you put what you know at the beginning. So that's all you have to do. Once you put what you know, your job is done. The rest of the problem comes from here. And I know one of the 7th grade math teachers, he tells his students that this is going to be your best friend on the day of STAR, because it's the only thing that you can have there that's going to help you out. So I started using that in my class as well. So for me, this is going to be my best friend. So once I write what I know up here, I'm going to go to my best friend and I'm going to ask my best friend, hey best friend, what can you tell me about yards? So when I go to my best friend here, I look to see where it says yards, and I see it right here. My best friend tells me that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So I'm going to write that down. I don't have to memorize it. I just need to know where to go find it. So it tells me that 1 yard is 3 feet. And now look what's going to happen next. I started with yards on top, and so I was forced to put yards on the bottom. So when I have something on top and something on bottom that are the same, they can actually cancel each other out. So yards will cancel with this yards, and the only unit that's left over is now feet. So I go back and I ask myself, what did the question ask me for? It asked me for feet, and that's what I have left right here, feet. So this tells me that my fence is complete. I am done. I don't have to add any more sections to it. So all I have to do next is solve it. Now, in the notes from earlier, it said that whenever you saw a line that was going straight down, when you saw this vertical line here, every time you saw it, it meant to multiply. So that's what I'm going to make sure I do. So I'm going to multiply those two numbers together. So I have 200 times 3, which gets me 600 on top of the fence. On the bottom, I just have one number, 1, so I'm going to put that on the bottom of my fence because there's nothing to multiply it against. So a 1 goes on the bottom of my fence. So now what I have a fraction, yes, but it's also a division problem because we know that the line means to divide. So we have 600 divided by 1, which gives us an answer of 600, and our unit was feet. So we make sure we put that as our unit, and our answer will be 600 feet. So using the fence, it ended up telling me that Joe ran 200 yards, and 200 yards is the same thing as 600 feet. So that's how the fence works. You keep going down the line until you get to what your answer asked you for. In this problem, the answer asked us for feet, so once we got to feet, we could stop there. So in the next example, we'll see a fence that goes maybe 1 or 2 steps further than this fence right here.